Ian, tell me, what was your first memory of coming to Stirling County?
Well, I never played rugby at school, for instance, and I came back to live in Stirling after I left school, and first of all I joined a boating club, and a lot of the guys from the boating club were actually playing rugby as well. So I joined them out at the Bridge of Allen. So I started playing at Bridge of Allen in the late 50s. And we got to the early 60s, I decided for the first time to go to an AGM. And the AGM were held in the Golden Lion Hotel in the Oak Room there. And I told the guys I was going there, and they said, don't go. And I said, why? And they said, because there's so few people go, you'll come out with a job. But I went anyway and came out with a job. I came out as match secretary. And that was the days when Eric Puller was the president. And Eric was 15 years as president of the club. And his deputy, Archie Walls, was 15 years as vice president before he became president. Willie Gibbon was the treasurer, Jimmy McLaren was the secretary, and old Duncan Kennedy was the fixture secretary. And when these all got their positions at the AGM, they were looking around at the one or two people there to be match secretary. And I stupidly said I would take the job on, not knowing what a match secretary did.
Well,
So,
that was my next question I wanted to ask you, is what did you have to do as a match secretary in these days? So what was the job of the match secretary in these days, Ian?
okay. Firstly, on a Tuesday training night, you had a selection meeting. There was a selection committee in these days. And you sat in on that, and they picked the sides. And as soon as a side was picked, probably 4 15s they were picking, they handed me the team sheet, and I wrote out postcards for every player on the list. And then the next team I did the same, and the next team I did the same. And then at the end of the training, I handed out as many of the postcards to the guys saying where you're playing, what position, where to meet, and things like that. And the ones who I still left at the end on a Tuesday night, I hadn't handed out, put stamps on them all and posted them. So they all got a postcard either by hand or by post to tell them they were playing. Then during the week when you got call-offs, you had to change and phone people up and change things around. The next thing, Saturday morning, the next thing. Now, on Saturday morning, first job you did was collect the playing balls, rugby balls, from Palmer's, which was a sports shop in Stirling. Now, Palmer's were the only supplier of kit in these days. You had to buy your kit from Palmer's because everybody had bought their own strip in these days. You didn't get it supplied by the club. So your socks, your pants, your strip, you had to buy your own. And the thing was, depending on the washing powder your mother or your wife used, everybody's strip was slightly different in colour. Then on a Saturday morning, if the school was playing at home at William Field, you nipped up there to see if you could get some players to fit into the junior, the lower 15s. Then you had to make sure before that you had referees covering all the games, so you had to organise referees because there wasn't an SIU system for that, and make sure that whatever pub we were going to, because we didn't have a clubhouse in these days, whatever pub we were going to had pies ready and things for the boys coming.